What up, what up, what up? Real Fans Podcast back at it again. That's nothing to sneeze at. I'm your boy Gabe here covering week 10 with my co-host here, Julian. Julian, how you doing this week?
Doing good. Literally, as soon as I started the thing, I was like, oh, here comes a sneeze. But no, I'm representing Veterans Day. That happened yesterday, so I had to bring out the military appreciation sweater, or not sweater.
I thought you were doing Jags appreciation, man, after this week.
No, they don't deserve it. They don't deserve that. They need to get relegated.
But here we are, week 10, episode 117. We appreciate everybody for checking us out. Let's get into it. How we cover it usually every week. We usually have an agenda to cover down. Julian, I don't know if you have it pulled up. We're going to go through kind of the major news of the week.
So notable injuries. Really, not a lot of teams came out pretty unscathed. I got three major ones that are notable, I should say. Aaron Jones has a chest injury. Darius Slay from the Philadelphia Eagles has an ankle, and then you have Tristan Wirfs from Tampa Bay Buccaneers with a knee, specifically MCL sprain. So, yeah, I mean, out of those three, those are all pretty important players for each one of their teams. Aaron Jones, obviously the bell cow of the Minnesota Vikings. That's a tough knock not to have him, and we saw it this past week against Jacksonville where they only scored 12 points. And then Darius Slay, one of the main cornerbacks in the secondary for Philadelphia, and then Tristan Wirfs, one of the best offensive linemen, left tackles in the league, all pro left tackle. And we kind of saw it once he went down that San Francisco went over, but we're gonna talk about that later. But yeah, I mean, those are pretty much the big notable ones. No major news, no major injuries. So looks like we kind of got out pretty clean for the most part. Obviously, there's some.
You're missing out. There's still missing something. Yeah, two that I saw. Sam Laporta had a shoulder injury. They're listing him as questionable, a tight end for the Lions. And Dak Prescott out for the season injuring surgery on his hamstring. I don't know if you saw the end of that game. Trey Lance had to come in. They had a quarterback change.
I don't know why it wasn't on the notable injuries thing, because now that you say it, I completely remember it doing it. But then I was like, let me, before the show, update the injury list, see what comes up. I updated it. And I completely forgot about it. Well, I don't know why that was. Freaking CBS, bro. Screw you, CBS. Making me look like a buffoon.
Yeah, you got to go update. Usually I go on Twitter. Usually Twitter, I have the updates because they'll talk about the injuries or whatever, especially in the morning.
Yeah, well, I like how they had it. They have it like laid out in a list for like each specific team and stuff. And it's supposed to be updated, but I guess not. But anyways, out of those injuries, I guess, you want to talk a little Dak Prescott, Trey Lance coming in. What do you think? Can the Cowboys...
I saw the end of that game. I didn't see most of that game because, you and me and the Cowboys are such great friends. No, I saw the end of it. I saw the transition when he came over. Trey Lance looked bad. Like it wasn't that great. It was like so spotty. It's like sometimes like, okay, I want him to do well. He's coming in covering spot, but he gets swamped by the defensive lineman. It's like, damn, this guy. It's another win situation. I think Dak Prescott is probably the biggest injury. Laporta is a huge receiver for the Lions, but it seems like he's questionable. So I don't know if it was anything major with that, but we'll see. He's a huge receiver for them, having a great year. But Dak Prescott is probably, because for me, this is just like a sign of like Dallas. Like this is like the official turning point where you can say Dallas is pretty much over. I can say the season is done. There's nothing to look forward to with Dallas Cowboys, but with Prescott having season injury surgery, I kind of feel bad for him because I kind of like Dak. I don't think he, I think he's kind of a mid tier. I don't think he's like a supreme elite quarterback, but
whoa. You don't say that out in the neighborhood where you live. You can't say that out there, man.
Dak Prescott is okay. Listen, Dak Prescott is okay. I would love to have him on my team. Okay, we'll talk about. If Tua goes out, we can talk about that later. But yeah, man, pretty devastating for if you're a Dallas Cowboys fan. But kind of run of the mill.
Yeah, the Cowboys. It's been a rough season for them. I mean, there's been games where they've just getting absolute obliterated. They have a close one, and then they get just absolutely torched, and then they have a close one, then they get torched again. And this is kind of just the nail in the coffin. I'll tell you what, man, San Francisco, what a terrible pick to get Trey. They moved all the way up there just to get outshined by the last pick overall in Brock Purdy. But so you expected him to be at least a half decent backup for the Cowboys. But it just seems like even with Dak, they couldn't get it done. And the defense, which last year we revered as like one of the best defenses in the league, they're just getting killed by everyone. I mean, dude, 34 against the Eagles, 27 against the Falcons, 30 against the Niners, 47 against the Lions. I mean, they gave up 44 against the Saints, 28 against the Ravens. I mean, man, they were just getting killed. They were getting killed.
And the schedule, if you look at the schedule going forward, I mean, they play Houston coming up. I mean, they have some winnable games. They should win at least a couple of these games. Houston, Washington, New York, Giants.
I don't know if they can win these without Dak. I mean, because Trey Lance is that guy is terrible. They lose the Texans game. They lose the Commanders.
Giants, right? The Giants aren't that great.
Maybe. Like, I don't know. Like, what was it? They beat so the last game they beat the Cowboys. I mean, the Cowboys beat the Giants 20-15 in that last go.
Not great.
And that was with Dak Prescott. Now you're telling me Trey Lance. The only winnable game I see on here is the Panthers.
Yeah.
That's it. Because you have the Texans, the Commanders, the Giants, which they could lose, the Bengals, which I think they're going to get torched, the Panthers, which they should win, Bucks, they're probably going to lose, Eagles, they're for sure going to lose, and Commanders, they're probably going to get the sweep on them. So I think it's going to rough. I think you just got to pack it in. This is kind of what it is. Hey, I know, Gabe,
you give up already? You give up on Gabe, the Cowboys already?
If Dak was there, I'd be like, all right, it's not over yet. But like, dude, no. Like with Trey Lance, like, come on. Unless he shocks the world. I mean, they're on a 4-game losing streak right now. And they're 0-4 at home, which is crazy.
Yeah.
0-4 at home in Jerry's world.
I gotta listen to his podcast, man. I got to turn off this podcast. I go listen to his podcast. See what's going on.
Yeah, apparently. But anyways, yeah, we hope Dak, just from a personal perspective, that he comes back healthy and he's not suffering any sort of damage or any long-term effects from this, that he comes back good, because he's had a lot of rough injuries throughout the years that have put him out for the rest of the season. I'm curious what it's going to be going forward. Is Dak going to continue to be the guy there in Dallas or not? But that's a story for an offseason. That's a discussion for then. Let's get into what happened this week. And I want to start it off with the lights out, no defense college football game. And that is the Cincinnati Bengals versus the Baltimore Ravens on Thursday night. That game was an absolute shootout. But Gabe, what do you think of this game if you got the chance to see it?
I think it was a fun game. I think it was probably the best game of the week. I mean, it came down to the wire. What's his name went off. Jamarr Chase went off. I think he had 240 yards, something like that.
284 yards, 3 touchdowns.
Absolute monster this week. Probably my player of the week. Sure, not coming down to the wire. But it's my Ravens, man. I'm Ravens biased. I'm looking for other teams. I'm trying to transfer my fandom over. But yeah, I thought it was a pretty good game. I didn't want to.
By the way, it was 11 receptions, 264 yards, and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, I know it was up there. 240 something, 260 something, 250 something.
Yeah, insane.
Yeah, but what were your takeaways from this side? I mean, do you think? I think overall, I think the Bengals are finally turning the corner on the season. I've been waiting for them since the beginning of the season to finally hit a corner where be competitive. And I think we're in the part of the season where they're getting showing that they're actually competitive. I don't know. What do you think?
See, the thing for me with the Bengals, and I kind of have it here, is that this team solely runs through Jamarr Chase and Joe Burrow, and that's literally it. The defense, like we were talking about, like we briefly teased in the previous segment about the Cowboys and stuff, is this Bengals team, my God, they are giving up points. They can't stop anybody. It just feels like they're getting diced up, leaving guys wide open constantly. So the Cincinnati Bengals and really just Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase are put in a situation where they have to chase these games now and constantly putting up, because the Cincinnati, they're not really rushing the ball. They haven't really rushed the ball so well, especially now that Joe Mixon has left the team and now at Houston. And you look back at that and you're like, man, you kind of wish you had that guy on this team right now. With Higgins hurt, There's no one to go to. The offensive line, I feel like Joe Burrow is just constantly running for his life still. I mean, this guy's been in the league for, 4 years now? Coming up 5? And he's still running for his life? Like, what is going on? Like, why can't they figure this out? And while obviously this game was kind of set up going into it, going to be like a shootout, because this is also a Ravens team that I think defensively has a lot of woes and it's costed them games. And that's why I said it kind of felt like a college football game where it just felt like everybody was running wide open.
Yeah.
It was just leaving guys they could sit down, eat a slice of pizza, stand back up and keep on running. Like that's what it felt like. But you got to give credit where credit's due. Joe Burrow and Jamarr Chase, especially Jamarr Chase. I mean, dude, 264 yards and 3 touchdowns. That's unreal in the NFL. Unreal. And mind you, he also caused a lot of pass interference calls too that he helped move the yardage. So
there's 11 penalties
crazy
from the Ravens. So
yeah, I mean it's crazy. But look, my problem with Cincinnati, man, is, and you got to look at the coaching staff as well as they're running the offense. I mean, the game management, constantly blowing leads is just killing them. It's killing him. And then we saw at the end of the game where they go for 2 to try to go for the win. And quite honestly, I don't blame Cincy going for 2. I know they got a little bit of Zach Taylor got a little bit of flack from that, but I'm like, if you look at the way the defense has been playing, I believe there was like just over a minute left on the clock. Do you really have faith that they could stop Lamar Jackson at the end and get in field goal range? If I was a fan, I don't think so. So it's like you either go for the win now or you're probably guaranteed to lose, because what they've shown, especially in the second half, that Lamar was just going to take them all the way down. Because I think, let me see how much they put up. Baltimore put up 28 points in the second half. 28 points. 21 in the fourth quarter. Yeah. Like insane. So it's like you kind of have to go for it. So now, after getting swept by the Ravens, Bengals are 4-6. Look, they're not out of the hunt. And let me look up their schedule going forward. They have the Chargers, Steelers, Cowboys, Titans, Browns, Broncos, Steelers.
Those Steelers games are going to be big for them.
Those Steelers games are going to be crucial. They're going to be crucial, and you have to beat the Browns. You got to get these divisional wins. I don't know if the divisional race might be out of their hands, but this isn't necessarily the easiest. I mean, the Broncos have proved week in and week out they're a tough team to beat. The Chargers, they're fighting for a playoff spot. We talked about the Cowboys, who the Cowboys are, that's probably going to be a win for them. The Titans have been terrible this year. So it's possible the season's not over, obviously. There's still a lot of games left. There's 7 games left? 8 games left. So It's possible. I can't see this. I can't realistically see this team making a run with the limited amount of pieces they have around them at the moment. And also defensively, they can't stop anybody and just running for it. Now, before we move on to the Ravens side of it, what do you think about, do you think that I know you just said you feel like they're playing better now, but do you think they realistically could go on a run or anything like that?
Like I said, I think these next upcoming weeks are going to be huge and pivotal. If you look at the playoff picture right now, Steelers are sitting at number 3. They're 7-2 above the Ravens, who are 7-3. Ravens at number 5. So there's going to be swapping of that spot. Me personally, I think the Ravens are a better team, the better team of that division. So this next upcoming, like you said, the divisional matchups are going to be crucial for them if they want to salvage the season or an attempt at coming at least in a wild card or something. But yeah, I think there's always been that element of Joe Burrow, of him getting injured, losing a season because of sacks. And we know that's been the story for the past few years. Has been the sacks in the over. Yeah. The pressure that he gets. He is a great quarterback, but it's tough. Tough when you get pressured like that. I guess I still think there's time for them to turn around their season. It's not quite over for them yet. So it's kind of like a wait to see. Like I said, I've been waiting for them. I've been waiting for the first 3-4 weeks. I'm like, where's Joe Burrow? Where's Joe Burrow? I've been waiting for a huge game like this. So the fact that they actually came down to the wire, Obviously they're giving up a lot of points at the end of that in the fourth quarter. But the fact that they were actually competitive was, to me, a good sign. So, I mean, it's a loss. It's a tough loss, divisional loss, but season's not over yet.
The one thing I will say about Joe Burrow is, God, man, that guy's accurate. Like sometimes you see him make these throws. There was one throw to Jamarr Chase in like the back corner of the end zone, and he just floats it right over two defenders, just perfectly right in Jamarr Chase's hands. Like I truly believe he's right behind Mahomes, and the only reason because of that is because Mahomes has the resume of winning trophies. But as for the Ravens side, let's get into this. This Ravens offense looks great, man. Honestly, this is I genuinely believe this might be the best season Lamar Jackson has had, both throwing and running the ball. Like he is, like, to me, like obviously the knock on him was like he's an okay thrower, but he's elite at running. I think Lamar Jackson has gotten to the point where this guy's a real deal. Like he can sling the rock and he's playing really well. And it's proved that like now that you got some weapons around him,
he doesn't have to be the focus of the run game anymore.
He doesn't have to just feel like he has to just dip out and run. I mean, having guys like Zay Flowers, and Rashad Bateman and Mark Andrews coming into his own again, they're creating chances. They're playing well. Like they're getting down the field. Like he looks good. And then when he needs to run and he needs to get out of the pocket, he's able to do that. And sometimes he's better than most running backs in this league. It's incredible. So Lamar Jackson, just seeing him like really evolve to like all elements, because I always thought he was never bad at throwing the ball. I always thought he was all right. And I think his running ability made him elite. But now it's starting to get really scary with the fact that now this is a guy who has weapons around him, playing really well. And now he's getting the ball down the field. And then you put a big bell cow behind him in Derrick Henry, who has scored in every single game this season. Like this Ravens offense looks scary, but there's the downside to it. And that is the defense, like we were talking about, especially the secondary. Like, my gosh, are they getting absolute killed on the underneath? Like, I feel like they are just giving up so much space in the middle of the field underneath, where they're just constantly, like, teams are just dicing them apart. We saw it in this game with Jamarr Chase. We saw it a couple weeks ago against the Commanders, where it's just like just leaving guys open in the middle. And they're just, luckily, because this Ravens offense, they can put up points, it seems like they're having to win in shootouts. So that worries me a little bit. But they're just playing so well and so on fire on all four cylinders. I'm not too worried about it. Now, when it comes to like these Steeler matchups, things are going to get really interesting because Steelers have been very good defensively. And also, when we get into the playoffs, they meet the Kansas City Chiefs. These are two teams that have been playing really well defensively. Can they overcome that? And then can their defense be opportunistic enough to actually stop them? But yeah, man, what do you think of the Ravens?
I think the Ravens overall, like I said, this is my team. If I had to pick another team that's not the Dolphins, this is my team to go far. Obviously, I'm going to wait till like the last 3 weeks to see which team is actually rolling, because you never know. You're injury away from, or a few injuries away from disaster.
Yeah.
But the Ravens are playing well. I'm hype on them. Derrick Henry's been well for them. Like I said, Lamar Jackson doesn't have to be. He can run, but he doesn't have to be the focus. He doesn't have to be, put it on his back. Either he passes it or runs it. Everything runs with Lamar. And he looks comfortable. He looks comfortable right now. So yeah, man, the weapons are insane. They can score with anybody. They have speed. They have talent. And they're rolling right now. So I'm high. I'm high on the Ravens.
And then I forgot. I'm looking back at the box score. I mean, this guy, I hadn't even heard of him. Tylan Wallace. I remember watching, like, obviously he only had 3 catches that game, but like over 100 yards. That's another piece, man. That's another guy who's like, granted it was the Cincinnati Bengals, and we went on about like how poor they've been in the past, but still, like, it's another guy that's there. But yeah, give me a game. What else you got?
Another game I want to talk about. Can we talk about the ending of the 49ers Bucks game? I don't know if you saw that.
Okay, cool. Crazy games. I got that on my my list. So let's go.
Yeah, let me pull up my notes because I have all my notes spread out. Yeah, it was just absolutely insane coming down to the wire. I felt like at the end of this game, there was like 20 penalties called. I felt like every play was a penalty. There was a face
Yeah.
mask, a holding. I was like, oh my God, the fix is in. The script writers, they dialed it up perfectly for the
exactly.
Bucks.
Get your hugs.
Absolutely insane. Let me start off with the kickoff. There's a huge swing on the kickoff with the Bucks recovery. I mean, I think that was a momentum coming off of the half. I thought the 49ers did well attacking like the midfield. Like I felt like everything the Bucks were giving up like everything in the midfield. Short passes, running. McCaffrey obviously having his return this game, and he looked pretty good. I think he played well for them. Him and Kittle had an excellent game this game. And also I thought the Bucks run game was pretty good. Irving and Rashad White are a great combo. I don't know, I've been trying to watch more Bucks games, so you've been trying to get me, Julian, on
the Bucks train.
How Baker Mayfield is the truth. He's the real MVP this year.
Let him bake.
Yeah. So yeah, I felt like the Bucks defense was giving a lot of stuff in the midfield. There's a lot of scheming. I noticed the Shanahan scheming. There's a lot of motion right, a lot of play action where they're faking to the left, pass it right. A lot of cool designs that I thought the 49ers were able to pull off. And maybe the Bucks had momentum maybe that first quarter, but I thought like the second half of the game was all 49ers. I mean, they were just getting huge chunks, huge yardage in that second half, going to like, second quarter to the third quarter. Let me see. The 49ers, there was a Bucks 2-minute drill, and then there was like a 49ers 2-minute drill that I recall when it came down to the wire. Man, that last, was it the Bucks 2-minute drill? That's where all the penalties were being called. They were calling like face masks. They were calling pass interference. Baker Mayfield was shedding off defenders. There was one play where Nick Bosa was trying to tackle him. Nick Bosa should have dragged him by his arm, but Nick Bosa was just holding him. He was able to just squirm around. There was like 3 or 4 plays like that where he was just able to squirm around, get out the pocket, toss it to somebody down the
Baker
field.
Magic, bro. There was some moments of magic by that guy. Like I'm like, God, Baker's gonna. But you gotta talk about the biggest thing, man. What was the biggest story coming out of that game, dude?
I don't know. Debo fighting somebody?
No, Moody, bro. Missed
Moody.
3 straight field
absolutely
goals.
Huge for them.
My God,
he made 3 in a row.
He made that game way closer than it should have been.
He made 2 when he needed it. But I absolutely missed 3. Huge for him, I guess. I don't know how I feel about that. Like I feel absolutely crazy about my kicker. I really don't feel great about my kicker in the Dolphins, but absolutely insane. I mean, he came through at the end, but I mean,
I would be so nervous.
3 in a row.
Like a 44. I think it was like a 44-yard field goal to win it. And I'm like, oh my God, this guy's gonna miss it. He's gonna whiff it. He's gonna whiff it. But no, I kind of agree with you. It felt like the Bucks really couldn't get anything going offensively until like right at the end, and a lot of it came from Baker Magic. The Niners did a real good job just kind of shutting that down. It felt like everybody was just kind of quiet on the Buccaneers front, but obviously you have Mike Evans out and Godwin out, so that doesn't help. But yeah, I just felt like they couldn't get anything moving without those guys. The run game was solid. It was good enough, but obviously what kept them in the game was really the Niners' mistakes, specifically Moody's and the missing the field goals. But I don't want to put all the blame on him because at the end of the day, the Niners offense still only made it to field goal range. They couldn't actually punch it into the end zone for a few drives in a row, which, people want to blame the kicker for missing points. Yeah, you should put that away, especially you shouldn't be missing 3 in a row. But also, too, you got to get to the end zone. I mean, that's 3 straight drives you didn't get in there. And a team that hasn't been necessarily playing that well, especially a Bucs team that defensively this game, I think they gave up, over 300 yards. So over 400 yards, my bad, in total yards. So, like, that's kind of unacceptable. But this just kind of proves to me that, like, Brock Purdy is a really good quarterback, man. Yeah, he had some incredible throws. He had some where he just drops it in the bucket, specifically one to McCaffrey that sticks out to me, like down the sideline. He's been getting better. He's been getting really better. And the one thing I like about just the Shanahan scheme is they find a way to get everybody involved. It feels like everybody touched the ball in that system, whether it be George Kittle, who had 3 massive plays. You had Debo, who goes in the backfield, but then also on the out wide. McCaffrey who can be a receiving threat as well. It just feels like everybody, they just know how to move it around. So, but yeah, I mean, hopefully the Bucs can turn it around. I'm rooting for the Bucs. They've had a couple rough weeks, losing close games, and now they're below 500. I don't know what their schedule looking like going forward, but this Niners team, I think, is also a team I feel like they needed this win. Because they lose this, they would have went below 500, and then you're looking at a Niners team where it's like this team should not be below 500.
Yeah, it was an ugly win. I felt like, despite, I felt like it was a lot closer. The 49ers made it a lot closer than it should have been. Obviously, I thought the 49ers are a better team and should win. But exciting, I guess, at the end, heading into the witching hour, exciting end. I mean, Baker Mayfield was just like willing them to win. Despite the Bucs defense, he was, fucking carrying it on his back, doing everything he could. Like, the effort is there. Like, you cannot blame, like fucking, you have to admire the amount of resilience that this guy has, the willpower to win. Like him, like he's working out there. You see him fucking shutting off fucking defenders, running at him. Nick Bosa, he's working out there, and he wanted so much for his team to win, but
it hurts too when you don't have your two best receivers too. It's like it felt like that. It's really kind of fizzled out a little bit since he did, because man, they were dynamic at first. It felt like they were just slinging the rock. But hopefully they can get back and healthy. But I will say I'm looking forward at the 49ers games, and they got a pretty tough schedule, man. So it sucks to see them kind of go down so early. Not go down early, but kind of drop 4 games. Granted, these were tougher games. I mean, they lost to the Vikings, Rams, Cardinals, and Chiefs. But going forward, you have the Seahawks, the Packers, the Bills, the Bears, the Rams, the Dolphins, Lions, and Cardinals again. These are all really strong teams that are pushing for a playoff spot outside of the Dolphins.
Yeah.
Which, who knows? Maybe the Dolphins might be. They only got 6 losses. Dolphins might go on a run. I know you still got faith. You got faith. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be an uphill battle for these Niners, and they're going to have to win some close games. I don't know if they win this division. It's possible. It's going to come down to the end, and there's a lot of big divisional matchups. I mean, they pretty much got to go through the entire division again. So, and the NFC North.
It looks right now like they're going to be fighting for like that second spot. Obviously, they lose to the Cardinals. Cardinals are up on them in the division 6-4. The 49ers are 5-4, but obviously with the win over that, they have the advantage. So they're going to be probably fighting with the
it's going to come down to that last game, final game, Niners Cardinals. I feel like it's going to be like that. It's going to come down to that.
There's going to be a lot of movement, hopefully, going forward. But what other game did you see that you want to talk about?
I got Steelers and Commanders. I thought this was the best game of the week. This was an absolute complete game. All 3 sides of each team played well: special teams, defense, and offense. Obviously, the game starts out with 2 like crazy punting situations where the Steelers go for a fake punt, miss it, even though the guy was wide open. I think the ball fell short, but they did the punt on their own 20. So that, like, I'm not against fake punts. I like fake punts, and quite honestly, I think we should do it more often. But like on your own 20. So then immediately, like, Washington goes and scores right there, and then the drive right after that, I think Washington gets the ball. They punt it to Steelers have the ball. They punt it to Washington. Immediately fumbles right off his head. Pittsburgh gets the ball right on the 20. So it's like both the beginning of each team scoring. Oh my God, I said that so messed up. Each team's first score came from like mistakes on the punt.
Turnover. Yeah.
So that kind of happened. Like I said, I thought both teams had a balanced game plan. It felt like both teams were running the ball well and well as passing. Pickens had a freaking day. Terry McLaurin had some incredible catches during that game. I love to see Terry McLaurin finally have a quarterback who can get him the ball, because this guy has been hiding in Washington behind terrible QBs ever since Alex Smith got hurt. And it's nice to see him finally have a guy who can actually get the ball to him. Obviously, I thought Dante Fowler had a great game. I think he had 6 sacks on the game, which is pretty damn good. I thought this game in general for both teams, there was just a lot of good individual moments where, either the defense stepped up huge or the offense stepped up big. Russell Wilson had some incredible throws where it looked like prime Russell Wilson again. And look, man, I was on the Russell Wilson hate train. I was like, bro, this guy is over. His season's done. His career, he's going to be a backup. Justin Fields is the future. Well, I still do think that. And I don't think Justin Fields is bad at all. Obviously, look, Mike Tomlin stayed true to his word. He's like, look, Russ is going to be our guy. You can't lose your position over injuries. While Justin Fields played well, led the team to a pretty damn good record, Russell Wilson comes in and he actually is playing well. And it almost makes me question what's going on in that Broncos side. But either way, I'm glad to see Russ kind of looking like himself. It looks like he's being accurate like he usually was. They're letting him sling the ball. Obviously, when you have Najee Harris in the backfield, you're able to establish a really good run game. And then defensively, this Pittsburgh team can get after you, man. They're physical. They're aggressive. They create turnovers too. So, like I said, I thought the game just had everything on both sides. Jaden Daniels, God, that guy is good, bro. That guy, he's rookie of the year. Like, to me, he can get injured right now for the rest of the season. Knock on wood, he doesn't. But even if he did, he's rookie of the year. I don't care what anybody says. The way this man is playing is unreal. He's playing like a vet, and not just a vet. Like, he's playing like a Pro Bowler. This guy, and he might make the Pro Bowl. I don't know who else you'd put over him in the NFC, but this guy is playing really damn good. And then obviously you can't talk about the end of this game. Pittsburgh makes a huge stop just to pretty much shut down Washington from scoring a field goal and winning the game. Gets a really big stop on 4th down. And then right at the end, I think it was 4th and 1 or 3rd and 1. And Russ got him to jump.
I remember how I played. He got the rookie lineman. I saw the end.
That was pretty much it, and that was game.
Yeah. I saw it in bits and pieces because I was watching on the red zone, so I didn't see a lot of this game. I remember the Pickens. I think Pickens got a touchdown. It was a little basket catch where he caught over Russell Wilson. Yeah. I was like, that's a pretty throw right there. He just fucking. It
was like a 40-yard bomb.
The Willie Mays Hayes basket catch thrown over was accurate. And then I saw the end of that in the red zone. Obviously on the witching hour. That was one of the games that they were going back and forth on. So I didn't see a lot of it, but I did see some of those highlights. Yeah, that was pretty good. You know, Tomlin was like, they called this. I think they told Tomlin before, and they were talking a little bit, and then they went out. And Russ started dancing. He was like pointing or whatever. I don't know what he was doing. He was doing one of these.
Yeah,
I don't know what that is called.
And that's what I was saying. It's a balanced game because right before that, getting that those defense actually stepping up and getting the stops. Even though it was a relatively high scoring game, upper 20s, there was still a lot of pressure given from both sides. There's a lot of good because the thing too was a lot of these catches and these big catches, these were incredible catches that you just there was no defending. And that's what it felt like. Both quarterbacks were hyper accurate to where it wasn't like these guys were wide open. It was just the balls are getting placed in the absolute perfect spot and there's nothing you can do about it. And they're just making incredible catches. But I do want to talk to you about Russ in general, going forward. Do you think he's kind of revived himself from those 2 years in Denver? Or you think it's still kind of he's 3 games in and he's looked pretty damn good?
Comparatively, if you want to compare season to season, when you're the absolute floor, what is the sky? If anything is up, right?
Yeah.
I didn't think he was washed. I wondered about the decision making when he was in Denver. Is it Russ? Is he able to throw down? What is his arm and his accuracy? But obviously, you see a change of pace, and I thought he was. He had a very good game. He was very good. From what I saw, just the little highlights. Like I said, I was watching the red zone, so whenever they spotted in, he looked good. Do I think he's washed, completely talentless? No. Do I think he's peak prime, rookie Russell Wilson? No. But I still think he's serviceable. He can still, there was rumors, Dolphins when Tua went down about trading for Russ Wilson coming in. So, and I wouldn't have hated that. So, I still think he's above average. If he's top elite, top 5 quarterback, probably not, but still serviceable and still playing well. So he had a great week this week. So, I'm not going to get much hate. I'm not going to overpraise the guy, but I'm not going to be oh, this guy's absolutely ass. But comparatively to when he was playing with the Broncos, he's absolutely doing better. So I can't,
I give him praise because it's hard to get out of a slump like that. It's hard going 2 years of like people calling you a bum, washed, you don't have it anymore. Then you go to Pittsburgh, you have this young guy who is playing really well right now. Clearly he's Mike Tomlin's future of what he wants to do. And then he goes out there and performs, because we all know, like, the NFL is only 17 games. You only have so many opportunities to really like perform. So to me, it's like, to get yourself out of that and then go in there and play well. One, speaks to how well Russell Wilson was able to, resuscitate his career. But then also, like, my God, dude, Mike Tomlin, he's got to go down as like one of the greatest coaches ever by the time he's done with it. Because gosh, what hasn't this guy done? I mean, he's went to a playoffs with Mason Rudolph. He's been above he's never been below 500, even after some of these down years. And then he brings in 2 quarterbacks that was going to be quote unquote QB drama. And they're playing really well and only have 2 losses. Like, it feels like no matter what challenge you throw in front of this man, he's able to get this Steelers team just playing well and having, if one side is falling down, you have the other side of it, which is the defense or the offense, to pick it up. Because even when the defense was starting to see look pretty weak back in those Antonio Brown's, Le'Veon Bell days, the offense was freaking firing. Like, it was like they're dropping 30, 40 points a game. Now, since Big Ben retired and all that, it kind of went the opposite, where you have Mason Rudolph who's playing. You had tried Mitchell Trubisky, but they still managed to win games. And now you're resetting it with 2 new QBs, and it's like it's just incredible to see what he's done. But I'm glad for Russell Wilson to at least not go out like he did, because, like, he could have been just continued to be bad. But a lot of it goes to him, but then I think a lot of it goes to just Mike Tomlin, just as a coach, being able to like fix guys. It's pretty crazy. But yeah, let's go into the next game. What do you got, Gabe? Because those are my 3.
Oh, those are your 3. We already went through the whole thing. All right, let's talk about my game of the week. I said last week was going to be Lions Texans. Were you able to see the Lions Texans games? I thought that was a fun match.
No, I didn't get to see it all the way through, but I'll let you take the lead on it. I did see pieces of it though.
Yeah, so pretty much everybody thought it was going to be a shootout. I even thought I was going to suspect it. I thought going into this, they had the preview. Everybody picked the Lions heading into this. I thought the Lions are playing well. Like, this is just like a fun, like, kind of playoff kind of game, or 2 playoff teams that are playing against each other. But it came down, I think, all the way to the 4th quarter. I think the Lions were down 23-13. You saw
23-7 at half.
Yeah, 23-7 at half. So Lions were fighting back. Overall, the game, the Lions really didn't turn on until like the second half of that game. Gibbs and Amon-Ra were really good for the Lions. They were able to score. Obviously, we talked about earlier, Laporta. I think he had some catches. I gotta get the stats for him.
Yeah, 3 catches, 66 yards and 1 touchdown, which I did see his play on touchdown run.
Yeah. It came down. It was like kicking. So if you saw there was amazing kicking. Bates was a kicker for the Lions. He was able to sliver a couple of them in. There were some close ones towards the end of the game. By the way, I don't know if you saw. I didn't know able to touch this. If you saw the Houston Texans, they had that awful. Look, I'm down for the uniforms. I don't know if you saw the uniforms that the Texans were wearing. They were all red.
Oh, that's what I wanted to bring that up. So I missed the. I'm not a huge fan of the Texans ones, but that fucking Ravens ones were sweet, dude. Those
you like purple.
Them? Oh, I like the helmet, dude. No, I really do.
I'm fine with the color. I hate the matte purple, and the logo is absolutely
really. I loved it. I loved
shiny.
It. I love that. I love the forward facing Raven.
No,
sweet. And shout out, obviously, because I'm not just because I'm wearing the shirt, but I've never seen it in my life. The white helmets were pretty damn sweet. The Jacksonville Jaguars white helmets.
I hated that one too for some reason. I don't like the white helmets.
I liked it. I thought it was cool. I don't know. I kind of like that reverse look sometimes and switch it up. I've never seen it before. I mean, I've seen it in like autograph, like, but never like actually see them like wear. Like, I see them as like sports memorabilia, but I've never seen it as like an actual like them play with it. And I thought it was sweet, honestly. But no, I've seen the Texans before. But
But yeah,
I thought the Ravens was sweet.
Quick derailment. Jackson White, awful. Ravens, Matt Purple, awful. The red on the Texans, I do like the red on the Texans, but that they had like a horn, like a black horn. I thought that looked absolutely terrible.
Yeah,
never do that again with Texans.
It's pretty similar to what they've done, but yeah, they changed obviously the not having the logo on it.
Anyways, getting back into it. It all came down to kicks at the end of the fourth quarter. Houston booted an ugly kick. There was and the Lions were able to kick it at the end with Bates. Bates were able to get two clutch field goals at the end of this game. Overall, I thought it was pretty fun. Like, it wasn't like my favorite game of the week. Like I said, I thought Thursday Night Football was a little bit better. It being a shootout. But yeah, I thought it was, both. It was a good effort on both teams. Even though, the Texans lost, I don't think it's like a bad loss. You know what I mean? These are like two playoff teams.
Yeah.
Going forward, I expect them. It's a tough. I expect the Lions to go deep in the playoffs if they're not Super Bowl contenders. So to lose to the Lions, at home, it might feel tough. But I mean that's two great teams. I think
they've been one of the best offenses and best defenses in the league. Like to me. Right now, they've been like really the only complete team I've seen on both sides of the ball. Granted, they're not. You have the Chiefs that are undefeated, but to me, the Lions and what they've done and how they've looked so impressive. I mean, looking at this game, they shut out Houston in the second half.
No.
0 points in the second half. They came all the way back. So it's and like you said, like the way they're able. Obviously, losing Laporta hurts, but.
Well, we'll see.
I mean, it feels like the weapons they have. I mean, between Montgomery, Gibbs, you have Amon-Ra St. Brown, you have Jameson Williams, who's been a sneaky good receiver, especially on fantasy. If you're looking for somebody on fantasy, but I mean, this team in general, and then like the defense, obviously losing Hutchinson has hurt them, but they're still shutting out Houston in the entire second half is impressive.
Yeah. And I feel like Houston is doing tough injuries on the Houston side. Them coming in with other receivers, them having to do it, but I still think they're going to be competitive. Like, I'm still kind of high on the Texans. It's kind of not too bad of a loss in my opinion. I don't know. Maybe other people are tanking on Texans. Maybe they think other people think they're overrated or something. But
Houston's got an easy division, man. I mean, Titans suck, Jags suck, Colts suck. I mean, Colts got a quarterback who just quit. So somehow the Colts are haven't been as bad as I thought they were going to be, but nonetheless. But I guess if you got any more if you don't have any more games, we can go into our player highlights.
Sure.
And I wonder if we line up on this. Mine is obviously no other than Jamarr Chase.
Yeah,
I mean, my God, 11 receptions, 264 yards, 3 touchdowns. Also, what's not on the stat sheet, being able to draw fouls and get pass interference calls that help them get first downs and move the ball. Yeah. Like, the amount of yards this man has contributed has been unreal. Like I said earlier in this episode, that it feels like this game entirely runs through Joe Burrow and Jamarr Chase. And if one of those guys goes down, this team is screwed. Like, I genuinely believe it, because they are single. You know what it reminds me of, this team? It reminds me of that Matt Stafford, Calvin Johnson Lions team, where it felt like with the year Calvin Johnson broke the receiving record, it just felt like those two guys were single-handedly carrying the team to like a positive record and making the playoffs. And if they were to make this playoffs, it's going to be because of them. It feels like the Cincinnati front office is just not selecting the right guys. Because, I mean, outside of those draft picks, I can't think of a guy. I mean, let me know, the Cincinnati fans down below who follow the team a little bit more closely than I do, or a lot more closely than I do. Has there been any picks from you guys that have really hit, or any free agency drafts that have hit for you guys? Because I feel like the outside looking in, I haven't seen anything else really hit outside of those 2 seasons, those 2 drafts. But yeah, Gabe, what about your player highlight? It sounds like you had the same.
I mean, yeah, it's gonna be Jamarr Chase. I mean, absolutely going off. Even though it was kind of, like I said, they had to score. There was a lot of passing at the end of that game, having to score late. Joe Burrow had to push, but absolutely tremendous. I mean, close to 300 yards, almost 300 yards, is absolutely insane in the NFL. And
I wonder where he is in the receiving stats. I actually want to see. I'm curious. I could pull it up real quick. Stats.
I'm looking up season leaders. I had season leaders open for the quarterback.
So he has 981 yards right now. Second place is Justin Jefferson with 831. So he has about 150 more yards than Justin Jefferson is at second place. I mean, man, 1,000 yards in 10 games. And have they had a bye?
I believe so. Let me check their schedule.
So almost 1,000 yards in 9 games. Let me double check this. What is their record? What is their record?
I know they're
4-6. Okay, no, they haven't had a bye yet. So yeah, almost 1,000 yards in 10 games is insane. I mean, he's averaging just under 100 yards a game.
He might be coming on a bye this week. But
I wonder. Well, he's not close to the record, but still, like,
on pace to have a great season.
Yeah, he would have to have a couple more of those to be like, okay, this is like he might be. I don't know I can't remember what the record is, but I think it's over 2,000 from what I remember. But I might be wrong about that. But yeah, man. I guess let's go to team highlights. I'll bounce it over to you. Who was your team highlight? What's the team you're like, wow, man, balled out?
Balled out? Oh, I thought we were just gonna spotlight a game.
Oh, just in general, yeah, just spotlight a team. What's the team you're looking at?
Let's talk about the Dolphins Rams. I mean, I think let's talk about Monday Night Football. Dolphins Rams. Absolutely had, heading into this game, had no plans, no idea that the Dolphins will keep it this close, this competitive. I thought this was an absolute loss traveling on the West Coast, but somehow the Dolphins pull it out. I don't know how much of this game you were able to see. I know you were in the chat. You sent me a video of the
Did you see it?
Yeah. No, I saw the tackle in the game. Yeah. So absolutely, I think it's a great win for the Dolphins.
Hold on, we got to let the fans know what I sent you.
Oh,
so basically, what it was. Or you want to take it?
Yeah, you said.
All right. So what it was is this guy. He's like watching the Dolphins play, and then it's the play right after
the interception.
It's a play when Tua throws the interception, and the guy's going for the return, and like Tua's like the last guy, I think, and I don't know what's wrong with him. Like he puts his head first. He goes down head first. And whoever caught the interception, I can't remember who it was, as he's running, knees the absolute hell out of Tua's head.
Yeah.
And and then the video ends of that clip, and then it just shows to this guy, and he's like, "Oh my God, Tua's going to die playing football." Yeah. And I was like, dude, I don't know who is teaching him how to tackle, because he's why are you going head first, man? Yeah. You just missed like 6 weeks, like due to a really bad concussion that's been 3 in a row now. And then you just like, oh my God, he probably got one there. I can't imagine he didn't.
I mean, my question would be, why are you tackling? I mean, I understand, you're playing football, whatever. If you're going to tackle, like, it's absolutely being the case. If the last time you got hit was on a non-contact injury, you were sliding and somebody hit you in the head with their knee, why would you go low and put your head near somebody else's knee? It's probably actually safer to probably stand up and try to tackle him or push him out.
Yeah.
Or push something other thing. Or just lay on the ground and let him jump in the air and let somebody else hit him from behind you, right? Because if you're in the air.
He's running full speed. Just a little push, he'll fall out of bounds. Momentum will do the work for you.
There's absolutely no reason to get anywhere, put your head anywhere near somebody else's knee. Or just don't even tackle all. Just let, you gave it up, just let him run. Like, you'll get him next time. Overall, this game, somehow the Dolphins, got a lead early. I mean, I thought that first quarter, there was ugly turnovers, man. There was like a tip pick. There was bad turnovers that first quarter, just kind of weirdness, not cohesive, just very ugly that first quarter. But somehow the Dolphins, I think they were up 20s. No, they were up at the half. 10-6, I believe.
They were up, I think, the entire game. 10-6.
So the Rams were able to kick it. They weren't able to. I think the name of this game was the Rams were able to convert on third down. I think their third down efficiency was absolutely shit. Like less than it might have been like 25%, less than 30. Rams not able to convert. They made it 10-6 at the half. Rams able to kick it in. But somehow the Dolphins were able to survive. I thought the scheming on defense was absolutely terrible for the Dolphins. They were giving up lots of passes, like lots of they were playing zone a lot. They were dropping back, and I thought they were dropping back way too far, giving guys lots of room for receivers to just run their routes and have guys like 3-5 yards off of them. And I'm like, why aren't we like manning up on some of these? So somehow we're able to eke out a win. Tua hopefully is not hurt after this. He played, and it's like one of these things.
I saw the comments where it's like, "Yo, Tua forgot he had CTE." I was like, "Damn!" Dude. I was like, "Oh my god, man!"
I think they absolutely stole one in LA. Stole a game from LA. Going forward, I think it's a good win for the Dolphins, but I don't expect much from this season. Like I said, they're still, Jets aren't doing well. We didn't talk about the Jets game, Cardinals game. That would probably be my second player out. Kyler Murray looking absolutely great. That would have been my player of the week. But the Jets aren't playing well. Patriots stink, even though I don't know what they did. I think they might have won. They're on a little win streak or something.
I don't know where the Patriots are, but yeah, they're terrible nonetheless.
Somehow
the Bills are running away with it.
Bills are running away with it. Somehow we're still competing with the Jets. I don't expect the Jets to do well. So the Dolphins still won at LA, and I think they come back this week. Let me look at the Dolphins schedule heading forward.
I got it over here. I will say too that the Dolphins, when they are a different team when Tua's playing, like they just are. Like watching that game, and it's like you see the Dolphins team that you've seen the last year, where they're just dynamic offensively. They're fast. He's hitting these. He's getting a little bit more accurate as the weeks go on, and they're playing well. A-Chain had his moments where he looked pretty good. I think obviously going on that skid really hurt them. To me, this was a huge win because now, while you have an uphill battle, the playoffs aren't necessarily out of the realm now. It's if they would have lost this game and you're 2-7, like, yeah, you pretty much phone it in. Like it's done. Like, but you're now 3-6, and there's a decent amount of teams who go from 3-6 to the playoffs. So it's possible. I'm looking at the schedule going forward. It's not the worst in the world. You have the Raiders and the Patriots. So those are two games you can
win
and probably should win.
Yeah. At home. They're at home. So
at home, at 2 games at home against bad teams, you win those 2. You're 5-6. You're in this thing.
You're in the middle. You're giving me a sliver of hope.
You're in it. Then you go to the Packers, which you probably lose. But then so now you're 5-7. You go to the Jets. You could win that, and that's at home. Jets at home. So you're 6-7. Texans. That's going to be a tough game. But it's possible if everybody's healthy and things are. It's possible because Texans have lost worse games, and to me, Texans haven't looked that great. Quite honestly, like they've won a lot of close games against bad teams.
The
Jags should have beat them.
We're one bad two attack away from not being competitive.
Yeah. But and then after that, you got Niners, which you probably lose. But then you got the Browns and then Jets again. So those are 2 possibly winnable games. So it's not out of the realm, and I don't want to get your hopes up too much, Gabe.
I'm not getting my hopes up. I'm not getting my hopes up.
It's not terrible. I will say that. It's not terrible. I mean, it's possible to at least be in the hunt and be with it. Because, like I said, when Tua's healthy, the Dolphins don't look bad. And like they look like they're slowly getting back to what they were. But it's just
that's the only thing.
It's hard to come from that up. It's just an uphill battle to come from, and with the schedule and the way it's looking, and not the uncertainty of like you said, Tua's one bad hit away from being gone again.
It's a house made of.
I'm gonna go to my.
It's a house made of grass, man. That's gonna blow.
I'm gonna go to my team highlight, and then we can go into prediction. So my team highlight. Look, man, I've been delaying it all season. I didn't want to talk about them, but now I feel like I have to. And that is the team that has been graced by the football gods that no matter what happens to them, they continue to win.
Okay.
And it's the Kansas City Chiefs. Man.
Oh, a bunch of frauds.
Still the only undefeated team in the league. They just continue to win games. It baffles me.
Yes, it baffles the mind how close they are.
It's you have this Broncos game where Broncos should get it done. There was one more play left, and that special teams line gets absolutely blown up by like 5 Chiefs players.
Oh yeah,
Like
that last kick.
5 linemen lost their battles. Like it was insane, and swats the ball away and lose. This was a game where Kansas City, in general, every single game, it just feels like they look dead offensively. They're starting to get a little bit more mojo going with Travis Kelce, but DeAndre Hopkins hasn't really been anything special.
Yeah, he had a drop.
I mean, I don't even know who else I could really name, to be honest with you. But they just continue to get it done, spreading the ball around. Like Pacheco, I've heard is close to returning.
Yeah.
He's supposed to be coming back. So that will help boost him a lot. And not even just the weapons, but the offensive line for Kansas City's struggling too. I mean, Patrick Mahomes, I feel like, is constantly on the run. It's been kind of a rotating circus over there. But even when he escapes the pocket and he slithers his way out of there, somehow he finds Kelce or whoever else that's on that team the ball. And I don't know, man. The only thing I can test this to was that Andy Reid has been getting shit on when he was at Philly for years about how he couldn't win and he kept on falling off and just couldn't get over the hump for I don't know how long it was even Philly for, 13 years or something like that, of 10 years or whatever it was of just struggling, of not getting over it. And now it feels like since he's came to the Chiefs, he's just getting by somehow. It's crazy. But you know what? It's a testament of how good of a coach he is, because even when you're bad, even when you're struggling, you're still winning. Because you can look at my side of the aisles like a Jaguar fan. We have countless games this year that we should have won. I think there's only been one game this year where we weren't within 5 points, and that was against the Bills. So it just find ways to lose, but good teams find ways to win, and that's how this Kansas City Chiefs team is. So I got to give credit where credit's due. It's hard to do that. I think obviously the defense has kept them in games. The defense for this Chiefs team has been really good, which is, you don't historically think of the Chiefs as an elite defensive team. They have players that come up in big moments that they have over the years, and they've always had a solid line of getting after the quarterback. But this year, I just feel like both levels, all 3 levels, they look really good in the secondary mid linebacker and the lineman position. So they've kept them in there. Now, do I think the streak will continue? Will they have a perfect season? I'm going to say no. And a little preview for what we're going to get in the predictions. I think they lose against Buffalo. I think they finally meet their match. I think Buffalo is going to be too much for them, and they're finally going to lose. But after that, man, let me pull up this Chiefs schedule.
I was looking.
It looks pretty favorable.
There's only 3 teams that probably could give them a loss unless there's a trap game in there. You already said Week 11 they place the Bills. Maybe Week 14 they play the Rams, and maybe Week 16 they play the Texans. Maybe one of those.
See, I'm opposite. So for me, I think they win those games. I think I think the Chargers is a tough game. Oh wait, when you said the Rams, did you mean the Chargers?
Oh, Chargers. I mean, sorry, I saw Los Angeles.
Yeah. Chargers. I'm with you. I think that's a tough game. That was a close game last time. The Steelers is a tough game. That's going to be really tough, and it's going to be probably fighting for number 1 position at that point. Potentially, who knows? And then that Broncos game is end of season, because I think the Broncos are going to be fighting for a playoff spot right there. And we saw that maybe they should have won this past week if it wasn't for the special teams completely fumbling it. So that could be. So like you said, I think there's 3. Well, if you include the Bills game, 4 tough games, but realistically, they could win them. So, I mean, we've seen the Bills get absolutely befuddled by the Ravens. So I mean. You never know, but it's possible. It's not a huge uphill battle. All these games are winnable. I think the true, really tough ones is going to be the Bills this week and the Steelers in week 17 or 17. So, man. All right.
Am I gonna be rooting for the Bills, man, next week? Am I really gonna be? Is this Dolphin really gonna be rooting for the Bills to win?
Much?
I hate them both. I don't want them. I want nobody to win. And in the tie. But let's get into it, man. Yeah. Let's get into week 11, man.
These are predictions for week 11. We're gonna run through here. We're gonna be giving our predictions on the spread, against the spread, And yeah, let's go Thursday night football. 2 days from now, we got an NFC East battle, and that's the Washington Commanders at the Philadelphia Eagles. Philadelphia is -3.5. Washington is +3.5. This is a really good game. The line is leaning towards the Commanders with the -115 and the Eagles -105. Gabe, who do you got?
I haven't watched a lot of Commanders games, let me admit.
I've watched a lot somehow. I don't know how. They've had good games, so I don't know.
I've been watching, you put me on late. You said, hey, well, Baker Mayfield, I started watching the Bucks. And you're saying Jaden Daniels, MVP or Rookie of the Year. Like, I probably watch more Commanders games. Philly's coming off a great win. I expect this game to be competitive. Give me Philly at home just because I'm more familiar with their style.
Yeah, this one's a really, really tough one for me. I will say, man, this year Thursday night football has been lit. Like, Thursday night football has been really good this year. Last year was atrocious, but there's been a lot of really good games, and I think this is going to be one of them. I have a hard time picking this one, but I'm going to say Eagles win, but I'm going Commanders with the spread. I think this is going to be like a 1 or 2 point game. It's going to be really close. So I'll go Commanders +3.5.
Hey, but I won't be surprised if the Eagles lose. I got the Eagles winning, but I won't be surprised if they lose.
All right, next we got the hold up, I lost the page. Okay. Yeah. The Jacksonville Jaguars at the Detroit Lions. Jacksonville +13.5. Detroit -13.5, with the line leaning towards Jacksonville at -118 to get within the 13.5. And I'm going to say I tend to agree with that. Jacksonville, like I said, there's only been one game this entire season where they haven't been within 5 points. They've won on the spread every single time. I'm going Jacksonville here. Obviously, Detroit wins. Mac Jones has been terrible. But for whatever reason, I don't know if T-Law's coming back. I got to look at the injury report on that exactly. But either way, somehow they just find a way to be close, and I'm always scared of big spreads like that. 13.5 is pretty crazy. So I'm gonna go the Jags with the spread, but Detroit wins, obviously.
Yeah, I was gonna say, look at the Bigsby. I don't know if Bigsby is gonna be able to come back.
Yeah, he's hurt. Yeah,
you give me Lions in the points. I guess Lions.
Wow.
I don't see Jackson. No. Let's go on to that game, man.
All right, Green Bay Packers at the Chicago Bears, the biggest rivalry in the NFL, the most historic, the most vicious. I tell you what, quick little side note story. I went to a Bears game, to Bears versus Jacksonville. For whatever reason, a Packers fan was there walking down the stairs wearing an Aaron Rodgers jersey, and the entire 2 sections between the stairs, next to the stairs, were booing and throwing shit at this man.
Oh, wow.
So, like, the rivalry is real here. This is going to be a good one. I like the Bears not the Bears. I like the Packers here. I think the Packers have been really good. The Bears have kind of cooled off a little bit. The line is leaning towards the Packers to get the -5.5. Jordan Love is back. I like the Packers in general this season. I think the Packers are really good, and yeah.
Yeah, I'll agree. I'll go with Packers. Like 7 or more points.
All right. We got the Los Angeles Rams at the New England Patriots. Los Angeles is -4.5 as a road favorites. New England +4.5. The odds right down the middle at -110. I'm going to go Rams with the -4.5. I think they win by a touchdown.
Yeah, I agree.
Rams haven't been high-scoring teams, but I think they get enough. Yeah. All right. Let's go to the Cleveland Browns at the New Orleans Saints. Cleveland +1.5. New Orleans -1.5. Jameis Winston is coming back to New Orleans in a revenge game. Does he get it done, Gabe?
Yeah, give me Saints. I think they had a huge week. Give me Saints over.
Okay. I'm going to tend to agree with you. I don't know. This one's a tough one. You know what? I'm going to go Browns just to be different. I like the Browns. I really think you can go overweight. I think the Browns haven't been too bad. All right, let's go to the Minnesota Vikings at the Tennessee Titans. Minnesota -5.5. Tennessee +5.5. Minnesota had a really bad game this week against the Jags, only scoring 12 points against that defense. Pretty embarrassing. Sam Darnold threw 3 picks. But nonetheless, this Minnesota Vikings team is one of the best teams in the league. They're playing super well. Tennessee sucks. I will never give Tennessee credit as a Jags fan. And I hope Minnesota beats the brakes off of them. and I think they do.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say Minnesota wins by 14.
I'm happy to admit I haven't seen any Titans game this year or any Patriots games.
You're like, I'm happy to admit.
Give me the Vikings.
Did you even see them play the Dolphins?
No, I didn't watch that game.
That game was terrible.
Track game. I know. I didn't watch it. It was out of my mind.
All right. We got the Indianapolis Colts at the New York Giants. This is not going to be a very good game. New York Giants. My bad. New York Jets. I apologize. Indianapolis Colts at the New York Jets. New York Jets -3.5. Indianapolis Colts +3.5. I'm going to go with the Jets here. They're at home. They're a little bit more of a cohesive unit, at least. It just feels like this Colts, both teams are kind of dumpster fires right now, but the Jets team is just has way more quality. So I'm going with the Jets here.
I'm going with a Jets implosion. So give me the Colts. They win.
Oh, interesting. All right. We got the Vegas Raiders at the Miami Dolphins. Miami is -7.5. Raiders +7.5. Minshew Magic. Actually, I don't even know if Minshew's starting for the Raiders. You want to talk about a team I'm happy to admit I haven't watched is the Raiders. I take that back. I've watched a couple games from theirs.
See,
but
you're a liar.
With that being said, I'm going Dolphins win at home. I don't like the 7.5. Quite honestly, that kind of scares me. I think they're putting a lot of faith in Tua being back and putting up points. I think it's going to take them some time to really start firing on all cylinders again. Obviously Dolphins win, but I think they win by like maybe 5, something like that.
I agree. Dolphins win, but Raiders cover the points.
All right. We got another big time rivalry matchup this Sunday. Baltimore Ravens at the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's the first time I feel like this is a really, really strong game where you got two of the best teams in the AFC up against each other. We got Pittsburgh +3, Baltimore -3. I'm actually going to go Pittsburgh to win this game. I like the +1. I like the +144 here. They're at home at the former Heinz Field. I forgot what it's even called now. But Pittsburgh, I like them more defensively. They're better on both sides of the ball. Baltimore has just shown to be so leaky in the secondary and just leave guys wide open. This is probably, I think a lot of people think it's going to be a shootout. I think it's going to be probably like 24-28 kind of deal. And Pittsburgh wins here.
Give me, and Derrick Henry I trust. Give me the Ravens.
All right. We got Seattle Seahawks at the San Francisco 49ers. San Francisco -6.5. Seahawks +6.5. I think Niners win, but I don't like the spread there. Niners have been keeping a lot of games close. I'm going Niners. I'm going to go Seahawks with the +6.5, but Niners win.
Yeah, I think Niners win. Seahawks cover. Probably Niners win probably like 6, not 6.5. I don't like that.
All right. We got the Atlanta Falcons at the Denver Broncos. I think this is a sneaky good game. Denver -2.5, Atlanta +2.5. So Atlanta this is a tough one because I think Atlanta defensively hasn't been the best while Denver has been kind of the opposite. They've looked really good defensively. I think we might see a pretty damn good game from Bo Nix this go around, but I'm going to go Denver at home. They've been really strong at home, especially this time of the year. It's starting to get chilly, starting to get cold. Atlanta plays in a dome. I'm going Denver here.
Really? I'm going to go Falcons. Falcons on the road.
All right. Now we got Kansas City Chiefs at the Buffalo Bills. Bills -1.5, Chiefs +1.5. Look, man, I was talking about it earlier. I think the Chiefs get it done, dude. They've been the kryptonite to this Buffalo Bills team. They cannot get over that hump. I know Josh Allen has nightmares of Andy Reid and that mustache at night.
Chili mustache, that wet chili frost coming off the mustache.
Yeah, it's like Jack Frost coming out. He has nightmares about it, man. He's scared. He can't get it out of his head. Look, man, I can't bet against the Chiefs right now. I just feel like everything goes right for them.
Oh, my God.
I feel everything goes right for them. I as much as I want to root for their failure, like I think they win it here. They play well in the cold. I don't think it matters. Like you said, if Pacheco comes back this week, that's going to add another element to this team. And I don't know. I kind of foresee a game where Buffalo might not score a lot because obviously the story of this year for them has been like no one to catch that ball.
Yeah.
They try to bring in Cooper, but he hasn't been kind of non-existent for them. I don't know, man. I'm going Chiefs here.
Yeah, I can't believe it. Maybe I'm going to work up the words to say that I'm going to trust in the Bills beating them. I don't think the Bills are going to go any far in the deep. Like if they meet up again in the playoffs, I think the Chiefs are going to top them. But I think in a regular season game at home, I think the Bills can beat them. So give me the Bills. Somehow, some way, I think the Bills win this. But, best scenario is it ends in a tie.
Best. All right, we got. Gabe, you love rooting for ties,
man. Please, man. Am I the only guy in the world that roots for ties? I don't want to root for any of these teams, but whatever.
All right, we got the Cincinnati Bengals at the Los Angeles Chargers. This is another good game. Los Angeles -1.5, Bengals +1.5. I'm going to go Chargers here at home. Sunday Night Football. I think they're going to light up this Cincy defense. This is going to be a shootout, 100%. But Chargers have been pretty solid defensively. I'm going to go Chargers here.
Yo, Herbert looked good. We didn't talk about Herbert at all, but him running, bro, him juking people, shaking people out. I'm like, oh my God, this guy has legs.
Haven't talked. Maybe we save it for next week. We haven't talked Chargers at all with Jim Harbaugh back in the fold, his first year back in the NFL. I've liked this, what I've seen from them so far in this kind of quasi rebuild that they're kind of doing. But I'm going Chargers here.
He looked good. Give me the Chargers at home. I just don't believe. Maybe the Bengals turn around, but give me the Chargers at home. I'll go with the home favorite.
All right, and now we got Monday Night Football is the Houston Texans at the Dallas Cowboys. Houston -7.5, Dallas +7.5. This is a tough one for me because, yes, Trey Lance is playing, and Trey Lance is terrible. Dallas is 0-4 at home. They haven't won a home game yet this season. I'm just afraid. I just feels like every time Houston should blow a team out, they don't. They either lose or they win close. They keep on winning or losing these like 23-20, 23-26. Like they lose in like or win in these like low 20 games. I'm gonna go Houston to win, but Dallas gets within 7. I don't know, man. Dallas has been getting blown out. You know what? I changed my mind. Changed my mind. Because it took me a second to remember that Dallas has been getting absolutely pummeled defensively.
Yeah.
By 30, 20 points. Yeah. So you know what? I'm going Houston here.
Yeah, give me Houston. There's no reason the Cowboys this game should be even this close. Which we're giving 7.5 points, but give me the Texans, man. They're a way better team.
The question is, would you still take Texans with Dak in there? And honestly, I'd probably.
I say yeah. It's the fans, man.
It's how the Cowboys are losing. They're getting torched.
Yeah.
But anyways, Gabe. Any final thoughts? It looks like we've covered Week 10 and predicted Week 11. Anything you want to add to the viewers?
No, we just want to say thank you for checking us out. I know we've been off and on a little couple weeks, but hopefully we're bringing Sunday. Sunday is probably a better time to bring out the schedule. But hopefully, the witching hour somehow, surprisingly, the witching hour has been exciting. You said Thursday Night Football has been exciting. So for some reason, I generally don't like Thursday night games, but they've been something to look forward to. So hopefully we get some good games a week. We'll see if any surprise witching hours we have at the 4:00 hour. So yeah, man, overall pretty good time for football.
Awesome, guys. And thank you. If you guys haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel, follow, you know what to do. And if you guys are interested in any footy talk, go check out the Real Fans FC. We just eclipsed 200 subs over there. So things are going pretty well.
Inter Miami?
Yeah, we're about to. We're talking some USA, Mexico, CONCACAF Nations League coming up. But if you guys are interested in any of that for whatever reason, go check that out. Like I said, things are going well. We're pushing both channels now. We're separate. I think it's for the best to kind of keep the audiences in their own niche. So I'm glad for the future of this channel and thank all the support that we have got. I think I see some bright things ahead with the track that we're moving with both shows. And appreciate you guys. And we will see you guys next week talking Week 11. Peace out, everybody.
Peace.